Hi, this is Chris Major from Plymouth Canton Community Schools Student Services Department. This recording is the step-by-step video on how to pre-enroll a student with us at Plymouth Canton Community Schools. Let's get started. We're going to go to our website, which is www.p-ccsk12.com. When our page loads, we're going to go to the right-hand side, I want to, and then register my student for P-CCS K12. This enrollment is for kindergarten through 12th grade students. This is a two-step process. Step 1 is completing your pre-enrollment online, and then step 2 is scheduling your enrollment telephone meeting with the staff member that'll be enrolling your family. So let's start with step 1. For step 1, you're going to complete the pre-enrollment. You'll see there's a link right here. When you do that pre-enrollment, you'll need to upload the following documents. They're listed here below in detail. We're going to ask that you please scan those documents and submit them to us. If you don't have access to a scanner, smartphones do have apps that allow you to scan documents. You can search for a free app that allow you to scan a document. It's important that the documents you submit to us are legible, that we can see all the details, first name, last name, date of birth, middle name. We can see those details so we can completely enroll the student when we call you for your enrollment appointment. Immunization records, we need an updated immunization record. The school health form is a form for Plymouth Canton Community Schools. You can either print the form and complete it on paper, or you can complete it electronically and then print it to a PDF and then submit it to us that way. For the residency, we'll need 2 pieces of residency for all families. If you're an in-resident district family or a school of choice family, we still need 2 proofs of residency. They need to be items from the list below. When we talk about the property tax record, we're talking about the property tax record from the local township office. So you can go out to the township office online and print a copy, a PDF copy of your property tax statement, and you're ready to go. We're looking for items that connect you to your household. So that's why we're looking for the utility bill and the property tax record. If you're using a lease or a rental agreement, we need to make sure that that rental agreement has both the homeowner and the leasing agent on it, and that it is signed along with the utility bill. There are some additional forms needed for kindergarten and high school students. See the details for those below there. All right, so we're going to get started with the example. I'm going to go ahead and click on online pre-enrollment. The first thing it's going to ask me is if I'm continuing a pre-enrollment or starting a new one. If I click on that continuing one, it's going to pull up my information. And if I've happened to forget my password, I can click on that forgot password and somebody will assist you with getting your password reset. I'm going to start a new enrollment though. So I'm clicking on start new enrollment and I'm going to do a new one. All right, I've entered my information. And I get to my first screen. The very first screen is all about your household. Anything in yellow on these screens are required fields. So I'm going to enter our board office address. And then I'm just going to go right down to the zip code and enter that. All right. And then it wants my telephone number. And then it picked up my email address from my first application from when I started. So I'm going to say submit. And this address isn't exactly what the United States Postal Service uses for this address. So I get this warning on the top. It says the household address could not be associated with the district attendance area. So if I want to, I know this is a good address, I'm just going to check the box and say submit, and it'll allow me to move on to the next section. The address stays here just as I entered it. We can clean that up when we pull your student into our computer information system. All right, so now we need to add students. So I'm going to click on the left and start adding my student information. You want to enter this information as it appears on their birth certificate. And then enter their ethnic information. If you had more than one ethnicity, you can add a race by clicking right there. Add their date of birth and their country of birth. You need to enter the student's primary language and then the language spoken at home. The primary language, they could be two different things in a household. Your telephone number it picked up from what you entered in the first screen. You can add another number there if you want to. You're going to select the grade that the student will be going into in next year. If your address entered and it picked up a good address, it will tell you what the school associated with that address would be right here. As you remember, mine didn't, so I don't have a school associated. And the rest of these screens, you're just reviewing what the system is asking you and answering it appropriately for each student. So, was the student previously enrolled? No. And this screen, this is a kindergarten student. This student was not enrolled in the district. We also see this sometimes for students coming from out of state or out of country. I should say out of country. And so then they would need to enter school name because yellow is required. So school name is going to be NA, city is going to be NA, state could be Michigan or out of country if you're coming from out of country. But we'll just enter Michigan because that's where we are. All right. Now we're going to complete the rest of these questions, read through them. My student has not been suspended or expelled, does not have an IEP or a 504. Please make sure you're reading through things and understand what you're answering. If the student was born outside the US, if I answered something other than United States of America right here, I need to make sure I've entered their first day that they're coming to be enrolled in the United States. Either if they have enrolled in the past, just needs to be a good estimate of a date, or if they're going to be enrolling in the future, again, a good estimate of the date. It could be today's date or tomorrow's date if they're enrolling for the first time now. Answering the rest of these questions as I read through. I'm just going through this for the point of a training, but please read through and take your time with all of these items. If you needed to upload court documents, you could identify what kind of a document you have here and give us a note about that if there was custody restrictions. If you have a health alert, please let us know that you have a health concern. We'll know to ask you about that when we talk to you about your enrollment. Some of these documents here are things that we are required to get your permission to do. So that's what this next section is all of the items that we need to get your permission for. I'm going to just go through this really quickly, but you guys can take your time and read through it. You click on the links and it'll give you the data. Just to save us some time in the training, I am just going to go through these fields. Our student handbook, again, you can open it up. You can save yourself a copy. It does open as a PDF, so you can save that. And our technology agreements. Once I've completed all of those steps, that's everything for the student. I can say submit. If I needed to enroll another student, I would just click on the add, and now the second student information would just be the pertinent information for that particular student we would be adding. All right, moving on to the parents or guardians, you can move on to the next section. You're going to add the parent or guardian information. So I'm going to add Donna along with her contact information. She is the parent and she's the mother. She lives with the student, so I can just easily check the box and add her telephone number. And email address. The email address is really important because this is what we use for Parent Portal. You'll get Parent Portal access later, but we need an email address to grant you that access. And each parent needs to have a different email address listed. All right, so I've added Donna. Now I want to add the father. So his name is George. And he's the parent father. He also lives with the student. He has a telephone number. And it is also a work number, and he has an email address. All right. So I submit the information for dad. Now I can see household, student, both parents. I can add additional contacts. These would be people that we would call in addition to the, if we couldn't reach parent or guardians. So we'd call Donna first, then George, and then who we would contact next would be the person that we have listed here in additional contacts. You always want parent guardians in the top, and then the additional contacts would be other people that you'd like us to reach out to. Here's the thing that I was talking about in the beginning, though, adding your documents. So you're going to click on Add Documents. By default, it'll default to today's date. That is fine. You're going to complete the drop down and choose the area. So like each one of the areas where we have documents required, we'll have a drop down. We're going to start with birth certificate. You're going to call it Sam's birth certificate. If you're uploading more than one student's documents, make sure you label them. Choose the file, and then I have my certificate of live birth. I've already downloaded this. Remember I said scan it before you get started. So that we go, I've already downloaded it. I knew right where to find it. And then I say submit. And now my document's uploaded nice and secure. The only people that have access to that are the people that have access to our student information system with specific permissions to do enrollment. And then I could add my next document, which would, let's say, be my residency. And this would be my, let's say, property tax statement. And then I'm going to choose my drop down, and I'm going to upload my property tax statement example and say submit. And then I'm going to add my second one, choose residency again. It'll let me do that. This one's going to be my utility, or we're going to call it my DTE. Oops. There we go. And there's my DTE bill. My documents that are uploaded, nice and safe and secure. Everything is done. I only had one student to enroll. I'm ready to go. I would add the rest of my documents, obviously, before I did this, but now I'm going to say submit. Submit it on the bottom. Everything is ready. I just have to go up to the top here and say submit my pre-enrollment. Am I sure? Am I ready to send the link to the district? Yes, I am. And then I can print it if I wish. So you can print that and save it as a PDF so that you have that with your documents for your own records. Once you have that done, you're going to go back to our website. So I have that second tab open. I'm just going to click back over there. And I'm going to come on down here and I'm going to schedule an appointment with our school. So I'm going to click on whichever school it is that I'm registering for. I'm just going to click on school of choice because those families come to me. And then I'm going to pick a date. It's going to ask me some questions. I'm going to complete those statements. You're doing a school of choice registration in this case, and you're going to say confirm booking. From there, you'll get some reminders, and that will set up a time that we will call you to complete your online registration. We're just going to pull in your student documents, compare the hard documents to the electronic, and complete the enrollment. Hope this helps you with your enrollment. Have a good day.